Hi everybody, Gobbo Slayer, and today I'm going to be bringing you another game in the series between Imperator and myself. In this game, it's going to be Skaven vs Beastmen, and right off the bat I want to tell you that I get stomped in this match. But I think it's a great learning opportunity for the viewers on how to break a box and how to play a rush. So right off the bat, I'll go over the armies here. Both myself and Imperator are running pretty wide armies here. I as the Skaven, he as the Beastmen. In my box, there's going to be a lot of gold chevron clan rat spears. And the reason that these guys have been given the chevrons is not so much for killing power, but just to give them extra leadership. You know, right now they're up to 74 leadership, and that's pretty good for a Skaven unit, because you really just need for your front line to hold as long as possible while your other units are dealing damage. You know, it's a typical tactic when you're playing a range faction. You get your big heavy hitting units like your, poison wind mortars, your artillery, your big monsters to do damage, while your front line just kind of holds as long as possible. And then over here, for the Beastman player, Imperator, who is a fantastic Beastman player, you're going to see in this match here, he's running a front line of Ungor herds and Gore herds interspersed. He's got a couple of chariots in form of the caster chariots. And these guys are forming a dual role. They're both serving as chariots as well as mana batteries and casters. You know, they have Brace Scream here, which is a great little wind spell against lightly armored targets. And the one over here of Beast has, of course, the lore of Manticores, which again is just going to be fantastic in terms of rushing. So not only does my opponent have the Manticore summons, he also has Morgar, the Shadow Grave, who is going to be giving double Chaos Spawn summons throughout the course of the battle. One of which will appear as the units are getting deleted, and another that's going to appear from just summons. And on top of that, he has another 2 Chaos Spawn and Minotaurs, so there's just a lot of monstrous infantry that are going to be coming in, along with a lot of high DPS infantry in general, and 2 chariots. So there's just tons of mass in this army. And he's squeezed in 3 archers, which are going to be so good at killing my Hell Pit Abomination. So this is just a fantastic Beastman army against what I've brought. And, we'll go over what I could have brought different at the end of the battle, but I was pretty happy with my army. I do, as you can see, I've set up here on the hill, throwing a little bit of sling fire in. I have a pretty tight box, not a lot of room to maneuver, but that's just kind of how you got to play it against Beastmen, who are a heavily mobile faction. I could have probably opened up my formation a bit because he only has 1 unit of Centigores for Cav, and the rest is just monsters and stuff. I could have probably opened it up, but for my purpose here, it doesn't matter too much, other than just trying to keep slingers online. He's already hit me with a Brace Screen upgraded, which has done a ton of damage to my Council Guard, as you can see. They've already lost like 2,000 hit points. He's going to hit me with another one here. Again, just like 2,000 hit points. It's just so good on these large units like this. It's almost not even worth bringing the Council Guard simply because of the spells the enemy can bring. I'm opening up here with some Skaven Slave Fire. And the monsters, his monsters are coming back. I can't even see the archers yet, so I didn't even know that they're here at this point. Otherwise, I would have started opening them up with the mortars. And I am getting some pretty good value with the mortar fire already, but my Council Guard's already half HP. And another big thing I want to focus on here is that on my Lord, where is he? Somewhere in the front. Here he is, hiding amongst everything else, a Gracier. The reason I brought a Gracier was specifically just for the dreaded 13th spell here, because it would have been really good to drop right here on these clumped up infantry, as you guys can see, or even back here amongst the archers or the monsters. Any of these, it would have been great targets. But I made the huge mistake of actually just forgetting the spell. All I have on this guy is just the Arcane Conduit. So, everybody makes mistakes, even in tournaments. Unfortunately happened to me here, and because of that, one of my big plans going into this battle was already out the window, and that's just going to make things even more difficult. Front lines are engaged. I lock down his front here with my Warp Grinders. He summons a Manticore. His monsters are starting to push in. Already my front line's buckling, and I don't have the units around. I need to be blocking this flank. You know, the slingers need more time to be shooting into the chaos spawn. Like, they're starting to get some good fire in, but they're already getting compromised, and this is what you don't want to happen. He's got his 3 archer units firing in on the Hell Pit Abomination, who's already taking massive damage. So already there's problems. And pretty soon he's going to start summoning Chaos Spawn. And see, there's the Chaos Spawn. He's got the Manticore in here. You know, I am just up to my neck in summoned units. You know, which is funny, as the Skaven, you know, normally you'd be summoning units yourself. But because I didn't have my Dreaded 13th, it's really hurting me. And my opponent, you know, I start getting units routing, and then he brings the Centaurs in to start chasing down routing units. He's got the Shaman Sorcerers and the Chariots, you know, just again chasing off routing units and just pounding through my front line with all this monstrous infantry. And so this is just like the game at this point basically already over, you know, because all my heavy hitting units are just inundated. My Hell Pit's already super low, and most of my army is routing, and since he has units in the back disrupting, he's able to keep chasing stuff off for a long time, and I can't really stop him. You know, bad use of my Rat Ogres here. I need to be on these Chariots, and I'm not. And I'm trying to get in at these archers where I can, but they're honestly getting great value against both my Lord and the Hell Pit. Like, even though I pulled the Hell Pit away, they just started shooting the Lord happily, and even though he's got 90 armor and some missile resist and physical resist, still not helping against the volume of fire here. So it just goes to show you, you know, you can't underestimate these low AP missile units, and I needed the mortars to be focusing these guys down and getting more summons on them, but when my front line's getting crumped by 3 units of monstrous infantry plus 2 more summons, you know, 3 more summons or 4 more summons, you know, because you could keep summoning Manticores and Chaos, and, you know, it's just a nightmare. Didn't prepare for this matchup, and the Dreaded 13th probably wouldn't have saved me in the end. He pulled off just a absolutely beautiful rush, and really that's what it comes down to. When you're breaking through a box like that, you need to have mass, and it helps to have summons, because summons both, you know, especially Manticore summons, since they can fly, they both work as mass as well as you know, have damage dealing. So they can get on those juicy targets like Jezzail's artillery, you know, weapon seams, or Lord sniping, or they can just help terror out stuff in the front line. And then, you know, Chaos Spawn and Minotaurs can just push right through any infantry you have. So you have to, if you don't have any mass yourself, you know, it's the same problem dwarves have with chariots. If you don't have mass yourself, you're just going to get run over by these monstrous infantry units. They can push straight back into your backline and compromise everything. And yeah, so absolutely beautiful gameplay by Imperator. I want to give him the props he deserves for this match. Close defeat, absolutely get crushed. The game is a liar, and that was a clinic. Let's look at the kills real quick and talk about real quick what it could have done different. Yeah, these gore herds, you know, they're high DPS units for fighting unarmored infantry, and they show you right there. They got tons of kills. These Skaven slaves, even though they're gold chevrons, very little kills on any of them. You know, the chevron's basically just there for leadership, not damage at all. Storm Vermin did nothing because they got hit so early on with that magic. The monsters did okay. So if I was gonna like revise this army, I was probably taking maybe double Hell Pits or some Doom Wheels, because they're armored monstrous infantry or monstrous units that cause terror. You know, we could have brought. Obviously, having the Dreaded 13th would have helped, but yeah, we just needed to shut down these archers and really let the monsters work, because once the monsters work, it becomes a much more even fight between like the Hell Pits and the monstrous infantry that is there, if you can manage to actually grind out the archer units. So again, super well played by Imperator. Hope you guys are able to take a little bit away from that on how to bust up a box. And we'll see you guys in the next replay.